people, my name is Nicole and today I have an original book tag, which is kind of a weird thing for me, but in one of my English classes we read Turn of the Screw by Henry James and my professor gave us the incredibly specific assignment of do something creative with it. So I decided to make a book tag because that's what I know how to do. So I have a number of questions based on this novella by Henry James. I highly suggest you go pick it up. It's a really interesting read. I will give a warning right now, a number of the questions require kind of spoilery answers, so if you have not read the books that I am using to respond to those questions, don't worry, I will put a spoiler warning up like here-ish on the screen, and you can just meet me until that is gone. So the first question is stacked narrative. Turn of the Screw has a really interesting narrative format where the main story is a written tale told in first person by this governess, and that story is being read aloud by a different character to our like primary narrator, who is the host of a dinner party that this story is being told at. So it's this really weird stacked narrative, and so the prompt for this is pick a book that has an interesting narrative structure. So for this question I'm going to go with Fans of the Impossible Life by Kate Scalsa. This is an interesting one because it's not necessarily the structure so much that's weird. It just has a sort of very standard, you know, 3 narrators that alternate chapters. But what's interesting is that each narrator has a different point of view structure, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is that one of the characters speaks in first person, one of the characters speaks in third person, and one of the characters speaks in second person, which is a really, really interesting technique. It's one of those things that I think can either be done really well and be really effective, or it just feels super awkward and weird and it just does not work at all. In this case, I think it was actually done really, really well. So the next question is clauses. Henry James's writing style is this really weird thing with lots of really, really long sentences that have a ton of clauses. If you don't know what clauses are, they are the like addendums to sentences that are usually encased in commas, and they enhance the meaning of the sentence by giving it context and often can kind of change the meaning of the sentence. So for this, the challenge is to pick a book in which one detail or reveal gives context that changes the entire meaning of the book. So clearly this is a spoilery question, so spoiler alert for Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. This was one of those books that had a plot twist that sort of just made me go back and flip through the entire book, because at the end of the book you realize that in the accident that we were told about at the beginning of the book, the main character's sister actually died, and whenever we've seen this sister do things, it's actually been the main character in her mindset thinking that she is her sister in order to deal with the trauma of her sister's death. I know that that kind of thing has become kind of popular right now, but honestly it kind of just blew my mind. So the third question is interpretability. The existence of the ghosts in Turn of the Screw is highly debated, whether people think that they're actually ghosts who are haunting the governess or whether it's just the governess imagining things and seeing what she wants to see. So the question for this is a book in which one of the main aspects of the book is highly interpretable. So again, this is a spoilery one, and this one I'm going to talk about We Were Liars by Lockhart. And the aspect of this book that's interpretable is actually really, really similar to the one in Turn of the Screw, because it's the question of ghosts. At the end of the book, we find out that the main character's friends actually died in the accident that was alluded to all throughout the book, even though we've seen her interact with them throughout the entire book. So the question is, did she hallucinate her friends, or are they ghosts? So question number 4 is assumptions. In Turn of the Screw, the 2 main narrators, the guy who's throwing the dinner party and the governess, frequently interrupt other people and make assumptions about what they were going to say. So the question for this is a book in which all your assumptions were wrong. So for this, I'm going to go with More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. It's not like a plot-based thing that my assumptions were wrong about, it was just the general atmosphere of the book. I was kind of expecting a not light and fluffy contemporary, but you know, a contemporary that has its emotional moments, but for the most part is more happy than not. It's not. It's more speculative fiction than contemporary, and there aren't very many happy moments in it. It's really, really dark. It's a brilliant book, but I was crying for almost the entire thing, so yeah, think it's safe to say that my assumptions about this were pretty wrong. So the fifth and final question is haunting. The main character in Turn of the Screw is haunted by something, whether that be ghosts or her own background or her own emotions. The debate could go on and on and on. So the question for this one is, what is a book that has haunted you or really stayed with you? So my first instinct for this was just to go with a book that actually was like the last book I read. And then I realized, you know, plenty of books stay with you for a couple days after you've read them. Let's go with something from my childhood that's really stayed with me. And I tried to avoid it. I really did. But let's be real, nothing has stayed with me quite as much as Harry has. I genuinely like don't know what specific things I can say about this. I mean, I grew up on them and all throughout my life they've been a part of who I am and a part of who I've grown to be. These books have so heavily influenced who I've become as a person, and no book has haunted me more than Harry Potter. Alright, so that was the Turn of the Screw tag. So thoughts on any of these questions or my answers to them, please tell me in the comments. Or if you do this tag, which would be really, really cool, please let me know either in the comments or on any of my social medias, links in the doobly-doo. I love you and I will see you later. Bye!